Today was like any day for our hapless hero, until it just wasn't. By now, our hapless hero felt like he could taste the air. If anything, cut it. This would be as bad as his lunch, and maybe it would end up in it, or even his trouser leg or his shoe. This was not a defining moment for Mr. Brooks. It had been a day. Our hapless hero had been thinking, after all this time, like forever, he thought maybe he should phone his mum more, perhaps save more, and talk to people a bit more honestly about his feelings. An epiphany like moment has arisen from the near poisoning of his own gaseous productions. Maybe his life will change. Maybe things will get better. Maybe he might just die from his own poisoning. But whatever happens, I'm sure it should be an interesting adventure, and your lives will have been changed by this exact experience. Honestly, mate, don't go in there for a while, alright? I'd wait a minute. With our hero surviving this encounter, perhaps a trip to the doctors might be in order. Or maybe a therapist. Or perhaps a dietitian. But whatever happens, after this, his life has been completely changed for the better. And I hope yours has too. This has been an exciting adventure for all of us. Oh, mate. Oh, Mondays. I still got some wheat bix and stuff and wheat biscuits to keep me happy. Oh. Maybe with my mum used to make these with hot milk and stuff. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh man, these taste. What is the matter with this, man? Oh, that tastes weird. Oh, 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 oh. hell's that? What? Where's all that come from? Oh man. I'm gonna be late for work at this rate. That's gonna have to wait till later. Breakfast was a disaster. Let's see what's on the telly before we go.
News just in!
What?
Wheat Biscuits have had a mutual disagreement with planet Earth and is now trying to kill all of humankind. Wait, is that Wheat Biscuit? Oh, no!
Great. Well, that would make sense. Why? Oh.
Nick Field by the book, starched suit, crisply ironed, Big Cheese, his partner, Hawaiian shirt, a belly laugh waiting to happen, an unlikely duo thrown together. The FBI, in its infinite wisdom, saw something special.
Their latest case, Essex, England, reports of vampires, unusual vampires.
Nick, ever the professional, packed silver bullets. Big Cheese packed antacids.
Never know when a good burger might disagree, he'd winked.
Essex. Quaint cottages, rambling gardens, a place where time seems to stand still, where the hustle and bustle of modern life feels like a distant memory. The village is a serene escape, a haven of tranquility where the scent of blooming flowers fills the air and the gentle hum of bees is the loudest sound you'll hear. The scent of roses and freshly brewed tea wafts through the air, creating an idyllic atmosphere. It's a place where the simple pleasures of life are cherished, where a cup of tea in the garden is a daily ritual, and where the community gathers to share stories and laughter. But beneath this picturesque facade, something sinister lurks. In the shadows of the narrow alleys and behind the closed doors of the quaint cottages, a new breed of monster has emerged. These creatures are not the stuff of old legends or ancient folklore. They are a modern menace, blending seamlessly into the fabric of village life. Meet the vegan vampires. Unlike their bloodthirsty ancestors, these vampires have adapted to the times. They crave blood, yes, but only the synthetic kind. Their diet is a testament to their commitment to a cruelty-free lifestyle. However, their true obsession lies elsewhere. Their real thirst? Tea? The finest Earl Grey, stolen from the clutches of unsuspecting grannies. These vampires have developed a taste for the delicate flavours and soothing warmth of a well-brewed cup of tea. and they will stop at nothing to get their hands on it. The victims, little old ladies robbed of their afternoon delight. These elderly women, who have spent their lives perfecting the art of tea brewing, now find themselves at the mercy of these tea-thieving fiends. Their peaceful afternoons, once filled with the joy of sharing a pot of tea with friends, are now marred by fear and uncertainty. The evidence? Empty teacups, a faint whiff of garlic, vegan, of course, and a lingering sense of unease. The once vibrant tea parties have been reduced to scenes of quiet despair, with only the remnants of what was once a cherished tradition. Enter Nick and Big Cheese, the village's unlikely heroes. These two detectives have their work cut out for them. Tasked with solving the mystery of the missing tea, they must navigate the complexities of village life, uncover the secrets hidden behind closed doors, and bring the tea-stealing vampires to justice. It's a daunting task, but Nick and Big Cheese are determined to restore peace to the land of tea and terror. Their first encounter was with Mrs. Peabody, 87 years young, a twinkle in her eye and a tale to tell.
They came at twilight, she chirped, pale as turnips, but ever so polite. Drank all my Earl Grey, they did. Left a note thanking me for the lovely brew.
Nick, ever the skeptic, raised an eyebrow. Big Cheese, however, was captivated.
Vegan vampires who appreciate a good cuppa? Now that's interesting. He pulled out a notepad. Tell me more about this Earl Grey, Mrs. Peabody.
Days turned into nights. Nick and Big Cheese staked out in Mrs. Peabody's garden shed, armed with thermoses of coffee. Big Cheese insisted on a side of doughnuts. The nights were long, the only sound the ticking of the grandfather clock in the distance.
You sure this is going to work, Cheese? Nick muttered, stifling a yawn.
Big Cheese, munching on a donut, grinned. Patience, Nicky boy. These vampires have a weakness, and I aim to exploit it.
The vampires, it turned out, weren't just tea enthusiasts. They were connoisseurs. Only the rarest blends would do. Darjeeling from the foothills of the Himalayas. Lapsang Souchong smoked over pinewood fires. And their absolute favourite Mrs. Peabody's special blend, Earl Grey with a hint of lavender.
It's the lavender. Grows right here in my garden, gives the tea a certain je ne sais quoi.
Big Cheese, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity.
Lavender, eh? We'll give them lavender they'll never forget.
Section 6. The decoy, a granny and her Earl Grey. The plan was audacious, even for Big Cheese. They needed a decoy, someone who fit the profile, someone who could brew a mean pot of Earl Grey with a hint of lavender. Enter Mrs. Miggins, the station's tea lady. A formidable woman with a voice like a foghorn and a surprising talent for disguise. Mrs. Miggins, armed with a teapot full of drugged Earl Grey, courtesy of the FBI labs, and a plate of lavender shortbread cookies, set up shop in Mrs. Peabody's living room. The trap was set. The tea was brewing. The wait began. Mrs. Miggins was no ordinary tea lady. She had a past that few knew about. Before she became the beloved tea lady of the station, she had been a master of disguise, working undercover for various intelligence agencies. Her skills were unparalleled, and her ability to blend into any environment made her the perfect candidate for this mission. She had a knack for making people feel at ease, which was crucial for the success of the plan. The plan was simple yet intricate. Mrs. Miggins would pose as Mrs. Peabody, a sweet old lady who loved her tea. The real Mrs. Peabody was safely tucked away, enjoying a vacation courtesy of the agency. Mrs. Miggins had studied every detail of Mrs. Peabody's life, from her favourite tea blend to the way she arranged her cookies on a plate. Nothing was left to chance. The day of the operation, Mrs. Miggins donned her disguise and transformed into Mrs. Peabody. She wore a floral dress, a pearl necklace, and a pair of sensible shoes. Her hair was styled in a neat bun, and she carried herself with the grace and poise of a lady who had spent her life hosting tea parties. She was ready. As she set up the tea in Mrs. Peabody's living room, she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. This was her chance to prove that she still had what it took. The teapot was filled with the special blend of Earl Grey, and the cookies were arranged perfectly on a delicate china plate. Everything was in place. Mrs. Miggins took a deep breath and sat down, waiting for the target to arrive. She knew that patience was key. The target would come, and when they did, they would be met with a warm smile and a cup of tea that would put them right to sleep. She glanced at the clock. It was only a matter of time now. The minutes ticked by slowly. Mrs. Miggins remained calm and composed, her eyes fixed on the door. She could hear the faint sound of footsteps approaching. Her heart raced, but she kept her cool. The door creaked open, and the target stepped inside. Mrs. Miggins smiled warmly and gestured to the teapot. "Would you care for some tea?" she asked, her voice steady and inviting. The trap was set, the tea was brewing, the wait was over.
Section 7. Caught in the act, a tea party gone wrong. The vampires, drawn by the irresistible aroma of lavender-infused Earl Grey, descended upon Mrs. Peabody's cottage. Pale faces peered through the windows, fangs glinting in the moonlight. They were ready for their tea fix.
Come in, dearies, have some tea and biscuits. I made them myself.
The vampires, unsuspecting, fell for the ruse. They sipped, they nibbled, and one by one they succumbed to the sleep-inducing effects of the drugged tea. Section 8. Justice served, with a side of biscuits. Nick and Big Cheese, hiding in the pantry, sprang into action. Handcuffs clicked, nets were cast. The vegan vampires, groggy and disoriented, were apprehended. Justice, it seemed, was served, with a side of lavender shortbread cookies.
Well, Cheese, I have to admit that was surprisingly effective.
Never underestimate the power of a good cuppa, Nicky boy. Never underestimate it.
Section 9. Essex breathes and sips again. With the vegan vampires behind bars and on a strict diet of synthetic blood substitute and chamomile tea, peace returned to Essex. The village, once shrouded in fear and uncertainty, began to breathe again. The streets, which had been eerily quiet, now buzzed with the sounds of daily life. Children played in the parks. Shopkeepers greeted customers with warm smiles, and the local bakery's aroma wafted through the air, inviting everyone to indulge in freshly baked goods. The sense of normalcy was palpable, and the villagers couldn't be happier. The grannies could once again enjoy their afternoon tea without fear of fangs and stolen biscuits. Their garden parties, which had been put on hold, resumed with even more enthusiasm. The clinking of teacups and the sound of laughter filled the air, creating a symphony of joy and relief. The grannies shared stories of the past few months, their voices tinged with both humour and disbelief. They marvelled at the absurdity of it all, grateful that their beloved village was safe once more. And as for Nick and Big Cheese, their adventure in Essex had come to an end, but their journey was far from over. They boarded a plane back to the States, their minds already racing with thoughts of their next big case. The bond they had formed during their time in Essex was unbreakable, and they knew that together they could tackle any challenge that came their way. They returned to the States, their reputations further enhanced. The media buzzed with stories of their heroics, painting them as the dynamic duo who had saved a quaint English village from an unusual threat. Press conferences were held, interviews were given, and their faces graced the covers of magazines. They were celebrated not just for their bravery, but for their ingenuity and resourcefulness in handling such a peculiar case. The case of the vegan vampires became the stuff of legend in the hallowed halls of the FBI. It was a story that would be told and retold, a testament to the unpredictable nature of their work. New recruits listened in awe, inspired by the tale of Nick and Big Cheese. It served as a reminder that in the world of law enforcement, no 2 days are ever the same, and sometimes the most bizarre cases can have the most profound impact. A reminder that sometimes the most unusual cases call for the most unexpected solutions. The agents at the FBI knew that flexibility and creativity were key to solving the mysteries they encountered. They brainstormed, reviewed case files and shared ideas, always ready to think outside the box. The story of the vegan vampires was a perfect example of how unconventional thinking could lead to successful outcomes, and that a good cup of tea can solve almost anything. In Essex, the simple act of sharing a cup of tea had brought the community together, fostering a sense of unity and resilience. It was a reminder that even in the face of the most extraordinary challenges, the small, everyday moments of connection and comfort could make all the difference. As the villagers sipped their tea and shared their stories, they knew that they had emerged stronger and more united than ever before.